Johnson.
Hey guys, what's going on? Kyle the Car Guys here. I'm joined by Matt Coleman. You got top 8 with actually something that was kind of innovative, and it's a kind of a flash to the past type of ordeal.
Pretty much. It was a lot of fun.
But you got top 8 with it.
I did.
It's Bulma.
It's Bulma Apes.
With
like the OG.
Like you're marching.
Yeah.
Like
we got March. We got the OG squad from like Mecha Frieza.
Wow.
We got SS3.
Why did you want to play this?
The only other deck I had that was actually relevant was Mono Red Pan. And when I say actually relevant was that we played it at like the 1K at Dabbers. How many months ago was that?
Like,
a lot of months
like
ago.
October.
Yeah, so it was a while back, but that was the only deck I had built. I came into this not knowing a damn thing about any of the meta decks. I knew Super Baby was a thing. I didn't know anything about Hatchiyak, anything about the Beerus leader, anything like that. I didn't know anything about any of those. So.
Well, you ended up going like what, 3-2?
Or X1? Yeah, 3-2.
So it's 3-2?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. What were your matchups?
So round one, what the hell? Round one, of course, I had to play against Hatchiyak. Hatchiyak is easily one of the most annoying decks after Janemba. Hatchiyak, I'm calling it Closet Janemba. Hatchiyak is easily Closet Janemba. It's the same thing, except they're like, let's make a leader that actually does maybe a step or two extra instead of just swinging and milling cards. Hatchiyak is like, we're going to do the same shit, except we're going to put like 5 million blockers up that keep coming back. So it's just like, that shit was maddening. Round 2, I got the bye. So yeah, not much to talk about there. Round 3 was against Super Baby, Red Yellow Super Baby. I ended up going 2-0 against that. I was really scared going into that matchup, only because that was probably because it was the only meta deck I knew about at the time.
Super aggro, yeah. It's like super aggro. And
yeah, super aggro. I didn't really know like what my deal was. I know how to play this deck, but it's like I don't really know what their MO is. So it was kind of scary going into that, but I ended up just storming the board with Apes. I think I brought out the 5-drop both times in that matchup, so that was kind of convenient. And then round 4 was round 4? Round 4 was Demigra. So Demigra, I haven't played against Demigra since like set, I don't know, maybe set 5 or 6. Like it's definitely going under some change.
You played 2 Demigras in a row then?
No, I played Super Baby. It was Hatchiyak by Super Baby Demigra.
Okay.
Yeah. Hatchiyak by Super, because there was only 4 rounds.
It's 5 rounds.
5 rounds.
Yeah.
Who am I thinking about then?
I don't know. You played Demigra last round. I remember that. Because y'all went to time.
Oh, I did play against Beerus. I played against Red Yellow Beerus. Okay. That was another one. That was one of my 2 losses. Hatchiyak was my first loss. Beerus was my shout out Greg for the other loss. Red Yellow Beerus was kind of annoying just because there was a lot of denial of hope. And
your hope got denied?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of hope got denied. I found out that like denial can basically send both Apes to grave off March. So it's just like
it's a big.
If he's gonna keep negating stuff, there's not much I can do. I'd have to tap out essentially just to make one play, and it was just not beneficial with the way this build is.
Fair enough. So. Well, let's see the list.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna start off with the basics. We got Bulma. We've got the most MVPest cards in the deck, honestly. We got Roshi and Videl, the 1-drop counterattacks. The cool thing about these guys, we're definitely running 4 of each because once they hit the field, Bulma gives them blockers, so they're infinitely better in this deck than any other deck in the format, or period for that matter. You negate 1 attack, and then they swing with some shit and just block with like this Pissant 5k or Pissant 1k. Like it's not doing a whole lot, but it is definitely putting putting a little wrench in their plans for sure. So definitely MVP cards for sure. The second most MVP in the deck, Topo. It is honestly scary how many people are scared of this card. Granted, I would be too if it made you discard 2 for breathing. But like every time I drop this, they'd either swing once more and just take the 2 loss in their hand, or they would just pass turn right at that point.
Sure.
So for a card that it's I don't even know what to say about this card. This card is just easily one of the greatest cards in the game right now.
Everyone in the tournament is side decking like 3 or 4 towels for the most part.
Yeah.
Just because of that card.
Exactly. Yeah. This actually got towed in the last match against Demigra. He cited that in. which blew because like I had two in my hand at the time. But the cool thing was when I resolved one that match, and then I drew into two more. But he played it before I resolved the second one, so I never really got hit by the Tau. And these two remained safe in my hand. They were just 5K combos at that point. But yeah, so that was definitely a little scary because I'm like, I'm not about to warp 3 just to gain a turn, depending on how big my hand was. I mean, but that shit was crazy. Next up, easily the best charge of the game. Every time I actually saw this in hand, with the exception of one round or one match, this was always got in my hand too late. Like I say too late by like turn 3 or 4. Like granted, when that gets in my hand by 3 or 4, I can still play it. But I never had a multicolor in the energy, so it would always come out tapped. And at that point, in that late game, it's just not wise to charge it, unless you are 100% sure you can get away with it doing it safely. The only other time was going against Demigra. I ended up drawing into 3 of these. I did one for the first turn. It was like round 3. He won 1, I won 1. We went into round 3. I drew this one first, so I had to play taps. It didn't really affect me that much. And then I drew into 2 more, and they just came in for free, which was crazy.
Sure.
So that was definitely great. So that's easily the best charge in the deck. Next up, we have the other multicolor in the deck, along with his superior form, I guess. The pop ability off this guy came up maybe 2 or 3 times the whole day. It was just mostly just to turbo out him. However, most of the time I rivaled this guy, I didn't really get him out until like maybe 2 or 3 turns later. So this guy was just a 20k blocker because Bulma does give him blocker. He is a Saiyan. So that's kind of nice, especially since it only comes out for 1 energy. Or depending on like what you're comboing with, maybe 2 energy. But that's not that bad even so. And then this guy needs no introduction. He's easily one of my favorite cards in the game.
He kind of makes the deck.
Yeah, he is. He's a lot of fun. 3 costs to evolve onto this guy, and then all your Saiyans, the combo powers down, and all of the yellow, I think is it yellow Saiyans or yellow Apes? All the yellow Saiyans in the battle area get barrier, which is definitely relevant, no matter what meta it is, honestly. So yeah, we have those guys, and then let's take a look here. And then of course we have the March targets. We have the 4 Bardock and 4 Prince Vegeta. These guys are, once again, my favorite cards in the game. Some people will be watching this and they'll be like, oh shit, it's that guy that only ever topped once with Apes, and here I are, like full circle with Apes. I don't even know how many years later, maybe like just a year later.
Ginyu Veggies.
Yeah, Ginyu Veggie. During the Ginyu Veggie format when I played SS3 Apes, that was the only other time I got like a deck profile. So these guys are my favorites. The only change I would make in this deck, these guys were great, but the new Raiders Warcry would be infinitely better in this build, just because you're not really using the auto. You're bringing him out with March, so you don't really have to worry about having a yellow leader. And then Bulma gives them all blockers, so that's even better. What's up? Oh,
It's for March.
you march it. Yeah, you march it. Yeah.
He might be better when we get the new 1-drop. Is it the 1-drop Bardock?
The 1-drop Bardock.
Yeah.
That card's really good.
Yeah.
He might make that deck just a
That's
little
fair.
bit
That's
more
fair.
potent.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's like
When we had like the 1-drop Bardock before he got hit, that was the sauce with this guy. But yeah. All right. So now we're going into some yellow extra cards. We have the greatest card ever, Marsh. This thing brings out 2 of these boys for 4 energy, and then Pot of Greeds. Like I don't really know what else has that much plus on it in this game. I'm sure there's a few things, but this shit is just insane. I love this card. I only have 1 foil. I don't know how that happened since the last time I played this, but I need to fix that for sure. I did foil out these guys, the Searchers, Planet Vegeta. The cool thing about this is that it searches pretty much everything in the deck, minus like a few other things. We got the Apes. It searches the, what do you call it? The Prince.
Search everything but like
the
what
super combos. Yeah, exactly. Searching the super combos. So like this has a lot of usage in this deck. It's not just to get the Apes. There were quite a few times where I would search for this guy or search for the super combo. It was never just to get the Apes. There were a few times where I'd like go 3 turns without seeing any of these guys. So when that came around, I'd search for one of them. But it definitely has a lot of usage in this deck. Another amazing card, Nimbus. This really needs no introduction. It says you can swing with one other thing, and then you basically have to pass your turn at that point. Like, it's a great negate, no matter what you're playing. As long as you got yellow energy. We got Super Combo Junior with the 5-drop. He's free, so it's definitely great. Haven't got the new artwork yet, but it's whatever. I'll get on that soon. The Super Combo, searchable off Planet, and then to round it all off, 2 Foos. These were only put in because I wanted some spot removal. I might not need spot removal, but it's a double strike that only takes 1 energy, and it gets rid of some shit, which is kind of nice, especially when you're going against the baby matchup. The Super Baby matchup I had, this got rid of his, I think it was a 6-drop, the Apocalypse Grudge one time, and then the next round it got rid of his 5-drop, the Power Booster Super Baby. So it definitely had some usage in the Super Baby matchup, but other than that, it was just like a double strike. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
And that's the main deck. We're going to get the side, the hastily put together side. We have 2 Gallic Cannons. This only ever came in 1 time, and it wasn't even that useful. It was just kind of something to try out. Denial, I think this might have gone off once whenever I put it in. Another great card. It just doesn't have really a lot of use in this deck because you are tapping out quite a bit. You're either leaving yourself with 2 energy that's used for negates, or you just have no energy at all, so it's not the greatest thing in this deck. But it's good to have in the side deck for sure. After Image, just because it was a, Sparking 5 negate. I was thinking about putting it in at one point in time, but I think the negates that we have in there currently are infinitely better, so those are kind of nice. This, because more negates, this whole deck has been nothing but negates. You're not going off with this deck until like turn 4, so it's just a lot of negates. Got this guy to get rid of, I used this in Hatchiyak thinking it would do something, but then he just brought the blocker back from the drop, so it's not the greatest thing to have, but it does kind of slow them down a little bit. Also in maybe Super Baby, just to get rid of some of their stuff on board. 8-drop Foo. This guy didn't come in at all today. I'm honestly considering, I saw his face. I'm honestly considering taking out the 5-drop Foo to put him in the main. I'm not entirely sure yet. We're definitely seeing a lot of nodding heads outside of the camera, but yeah, okay.
Put that motherfucker on. That card's at least 1.
Oh, it's insane. Absolutely, absolutely. And then we have these guys. This was just kind of there because
Like 1's all you need if you're going
originally it was at 3, but I took 2 out to put something else in, and then Tau for the topo, and what else is this guy used for? Anything that just makes you discard. So I didn't see any androids
Black
today.
Mass Saiyan.
Black Mass Saiyan, Slug, any of the green stuff.
Awesome.
Mostly. So that's pretty much it.
Well, man, keeping 8s alive, man.
You know, I'm trying. It's the only deck I can top with, evidently. So if you're going to take anything away from this, it's the only deck I can top with. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.